Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd day of January 2024. Hope your family is safe and healthy, and that you're safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, who, along with the first responders, are every day saving lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage for us and those that make deliveries for us. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children who are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People who are also the victims of pornography and child pornography, human trafficking, sex slavery, prostitution, child prostitution. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts of these things. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and children homeless in the United States of America and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. A lot going on, brethren. First of all, right now, the Knicks, as we stand today, the Knicks are solidly in the fifth seed of the East. They are 2 games up on Miami and Indiana. There are actually 4 games up now on Orlando, as they are now solidly in the fifth seed. They're a full game behind. Actually, I'm sorry. There are 3.5 games up on Orlando, 2 games up on Miami and Indiana, and they're a game behind Cleveland after Cleveland thoroughly spanked Orlando last night. Just to show you the effect of a back-to-back. Orlando had just beaten the night before. Orlando had just beaten the night before last. They beat the Heat the night before last in Orlando. The second night of a back-to-back, they played Cleveland. And Cleveland, they just didn't have it. Cleveland was up almost by 30 at some point. And Orlando was trying their best, but it's the second night of a back-to-back, especially when you're playing a good team on the second night of a back-to-back. It's always tough in the league, especially at this time of year. This is where the grind starts to set in. Okay, after your midpoint of the year, the grind really starts to set in on teams. And this is why I'm very happy how the Knicks finished the first half of the season. So now, right now, all 3 teams, the Knicks, Miami, and Cleveland, each have 12 games until the All-Star break. Each team, 12 games before the All-Star break. So let's look at the schedule. So the Knicks, in their 12 games, they have 8 against playoff teams. They have all and 8 of those, and 8 also at MSG. So they got 8 of the 12 at MSG. And they only got 1 back-to-back because they played a lot of back-to-backs already. So they got 1 back-to-back. They got 8 games against playoff teams. And they got 8 games also at MSG of the 12 games. So they got 4 games against non-playoff teams. And they also have 1 back-to-back. Now, Miami, they have 12 games. 9 against playoff teams. They have 8 games at home. And Miami has 2 back-to-backs. Okay? So Miami's got a little bit of a tougher schedule. They got 2 back-to-backs. They got 9 games against playoff teams. So they got a little bit more of a battle. The easiest is Cleveland. Cleveland got the easiest schedule. They got, in their 12 games, they got 5 at home and 7 away. So that's the only thing that's tough about their schedule. They have 1 back-to-back, but they have only 5 games against playoff teams. So 7 of their 12 is against non-playoff teams. Okay? Now, they have 2 games against Milwaukee at Milwaukee. So 2 of their away games are at Milwaukee. 2 in a row. They play Milwaukee, then we play Milwaukee again. This year's schedule is real quirky. So they have the easiest schedule, though, and having only 5 games against winning teams, and 2 of those against Milwaukee. But, they have 7 away, and they only have 1 back-to-back. And that last night, they had an away game at Orlando. Again, caught Orlando on the second night back-to-back, thoroughly spanked them. That game was over from the first quarter. And punched them in the mouth, and Orlando could never come back after that. So this is going to be a very interesting stretch, this next 12 games. Now, the Nets. The Nets play a lot of home games, but they play almost their last 12 games is mostly against playoff teams. And they play and they're playing mostly at home, but they got a tough schedule. Now this I have to, my man Superstar, shout out to Superstar. He corrected me yesterday and he was right. I misread the draft capital of the Nets. The Nets have in 2024 0 first round picks. 2025 they have 2, but those 2 Houston could swap. So in other words, if the Nets are in the lottery and Houston is not, Houston could swap picks. And then 2026, they got 0 first round picks. In 2027, they got swappable picks again. So the Nets are in trouble. They're losing and they're going backwards now. And Sunday night they lost a game where they were up 22 in the fourth quarter, and they lost the game. The team went on a 22 to nothing run and beat them. Okay, so they said that was the worst loss of the season for Brooklyn. Now, all that being said, no draft capital. Your team is losing. You got to rebuild. And what do you need when you rebuild? Draft capital and young talent. Again, if I'm the Knicks, I'm calling on Mikal Bridges because they may not have did it last year, but they're gonna do it this year. Okay, they spent a lot of money on James Harden, and that was a complete blunder. Complete blunder. Okay, so that didn't work out. That's why you don't give away all your picks and all your talent for one guy, like some of you Knicks fans want to do, listening to idiots on the big giant stages. Don't do that. And the Nets did that, and we could see how that worked out. Now they don't have Harden, they don't have Durant, and they don't have Kyrie, and they don't have no picks this year also. So they need picks. The Knicks should offer them 4 number ones, and we mentioned this before. 4 number ones: Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, and the rights to Rokas Jacobitis. They could offer them all of that, and that will improve their team. And like I said, only Oklahoma City can offer more. Okay, that's if Oklahoma City wants Mikal, and if Mikal wants Oklahoma City. That's another issue we have to deal with. And I think I'm not stretching it too far to say Mikal would probably want to play for the Knicks. Okay, for multiple reasons. Now, let's talk about Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III. See, there was rumors about Herb Jones being on the trade block, but I call it BS unless it comes from one of the 3 wise men. But it made me look at New Orleans' situation and see what's coming up. New Orleans has a problem. Okay, right now they're approximately $3 million below the luxury tax, but that's going to change. Reason is they just signed Herb Jones to one of the best contracts, in my view, in the league, a 4-year, $54 million deal. So they got him somewhere in the $12 to $13 million range for 4 years. He's locked up. Tremendous defensive player, glue guy, and he's improving his shot. He's shooting like almost 39% from 3 this year. So he's really coming along. The problem is Trey Murphy III. Trey Murphy III was the player that I had ahead of Quentin Grimes in that draft. I wanted Trey Murphy III out of Virginia because I saw he had the talent to become that dude. Defense, long wingspan, 6'9", but could play both the 2, the 3, or the 4. Okay, and so he's shown to be that. Now they drafted him in the first round. That same year we got Q-Dog, but they got to now next year both him and Q-Dog. That's their 4th season, and so they don't want him to become unrestricted. So they got to decide to make a move. They should make it sooner rather than later because their cap situation is going to get worse. They've already signed Zion, they've signed BI, and they got the guard. Let me get that name. I'll get it. Don't worry. They got McCollum. Each of these guys, this is their salary: $36 million, $34 million, $34 million. You can't bring nobody else on without paying luxury tax. Okay, Trey Murphy III, I'm thinking he's at least 60. Okay, he's at least 60. They got him coming off the bench right now. So they got to make a decision, okay, on Trey Murphy III. They got to make a decision. So what they going to do, I don't know. Maybe that's why they're looking to trade, or no, I'm not saying that. That's why they may trade Herb Jones. They need cheaper salaries. They don't want more salary when they're paying 3 guys over $100 million together, okay? You need cheaper salaries. And then you got Jordan Hawkins, who's a rookie. They got him coming up. You got Jose Alvarado, who's a revelation. You got a couple guys you got to pay. Okay? They only got $3 million to play with. So they got to lose salary. So that's why you might want, they might be looking to move a Herb Jones to get that money off their books and get rookie money on their books. Okay? Now, what does that have to do with the Knicks? Herb Jones is Mikal Bridges light. Not too light either. He's just one step below Mikal Bridges. Okay, an all NBA level defender, an improving 3-point shooter, a glue guy. Okay, the problem I have is, and it's not with Herb Jones. It's again, what would it take for me to change my starting lineup? Because the Knicks starters are balling. Okay, they're balling. And so I would have to have Herb Jones on my bench. And I don't mind doing that. I don't know what Herb Jones would feel about it, but he was coming off the bench. Him and Trey Murphy been alternating starting. Sometimes it's Trey, sometimes it's Herb. They've been alternating. So he could come off the bench. But, and you could trade Grimes for him, but I need some draft capital with Grimes, going over there. Because they're going to get a rookie salary, which now they have 2 rookie salaries. They can manage that better for at least one more year. Herb Jones would come to the Knicks. I definitely will tell you this. I would like him better than Brown. I would take him over Brown. Okay. Younger. He's got, like I said, the defense is there. He's a glue guy. We would have no problem. He'd be OG and Anunoby on the bench in a sense. So we have to see how that works out. I don't know. They're going to have to make, there's the Pelicans, going to have to make a decision. Okay? They're not going to be able to keep Trey Murphy III and pay him and Herb Jones. They got a year to do this. But I know they'd rather do it now than later. So just think about it like this. If they gave the spot to Trey Murphy and brought in a Quentin Grimes. So now Grimes and Murphy are both on rookie deals for another year. And you just moved Herb Jones money off your books. And you just saved a year of luxury tax. Okay, that's how that would work. But that's their decision. That's why you're hearing Herb Jones, because that's the logical move. They would hate to give up that talent though, but they need to replace it with something that's just as good but cheaper. Enter Quentin Grimes. Okay, so I don't know what they're going to do. That is New Orleans. I don't know if the Knicks have inquired, because the Knicks are smart. What I just mentioned to you, they probably already knew way before. Okay, so is what it is, but that's why Herb Jones is being mentioned. They got to make a decision between Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III, and they're going to choose Trey Murphy III for multiple reasons. Trey Murphy III was a first-round pick. He can start. He's ready. As soon as he came back from injury, New Orleans went on a run. They're now tied for 5th in the West. And then you still got Dyson Daniels for a couple of seasons. Jordan Hawkins, who's, again, he's good. He's a young player. He's good. You got some nice young talent. Jose Alvarado is on the last year. He's getting $1.8 million this year. I'm thinking you can get him for the mid-level exception. But that's what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with right now. New Orleans got, and they haven't been in any deep playoff run because Zion has been hurt. But with Trey Murphy III, you really, you can still run without Zion even. Okay, so that's the decision they got to make, and that's why Herb Jones' name is being dangled. That's why his name is being dangled. But what would, again, so there's a couple of teams that could give New Orleans what they want aside from the Knicks. Houston could do it in terms of a rookie deal and not having to worry about a guy that could play the 2 or the 3, not having to worry about him for another year before you got to extend him. And you get a year of your luxury tax without having to pay luxury tax. I'm saying you get a year for, again, push down the road the luxury tax issue that's coming. Okay, and then you give the salary in terms of the league salaries, they're gonna raise every year a little bit. So you give yourself some room, you give yourself some breathing room, and you move forward. So Houston could probably offer them that, a young player. They could, Oklahoma City obviously could offer them a young player that's in his rookie deal. They got multiple, and do that. So you got a couple of teams that could do that. And the Knicks could also. So now you have basically, in my view, 3 teams that could really give you. And then of course, you got the Nets. The Nets, but the Nets can't offer any draft capital. Not that they should, but they can. I don't even know who they would offer. Really, no, I guess not the Nets. No, they don't have nobody. But Oklahoma City, Houston, and the Knicks can give them what they want and get back what they want. See, so that's why you're hearing Herb Jones. Now, if you're a Q Dog hive like I am, I don't want the deal. Obviously, I'm keeping Q Dog. Get your okay. If it was Mikal Bridges, okay, but not Herb Jones. I like Herb Jones, nice player, but this is just me being loyal to Quentin Grimes. Okay, because that's all I'm saying. and it's not moving my needle enough to move Q Dog, who's on his rookie deal. They'd have to offer me some good draft compensation, at least 2 number ones, for me to do that. So that's what I would think. Again, I'm looking more at Brooklyn because Brooklyn is in trouble. Brooklyn's in trouble. Okay. Let them come through this next 12 games losing a lot again. I'm gonna tell you right now before the deadline, they making a move. Okay. And McCall is their crown jewel. So we'll see how this works out. But I'm looking at the Nets if I'm the Knicks. I'm talking to them about Bridges. Herb Jones is out there because Trey Murphy III ain't going nowhere. If I'm New Orleans, he's on another year of his rookie deal. He ain't going nowhere. Herb Jones is the guy they would move. He'd be a nice piece for a playoff team. There's no doubt. But I'm Q Dog high, which is why I say I wouldn't do it. And again, only time I'm moving Q Dog is if I'm getting McCall Bridges. Y'all enjoy your Tuesday. So